So there are 5 things that we feel are the big challenges from a marketing standpoint. And if you can crack these 5 things, chances are that you will succeed from a marketing standpoint. So, a lot of it is covered, so let me just run through the list. So the first one is really reaching the consumer, the basic thing. How do I get the product across to the consumer? It's a huge challenge in India. I don't know if you know the stats, but 50% of the world's outlets are in India. 50%. 8.4 million outlets are in India, which is 50% of all the outlets that you see around the world. It's huge. Just getting your product across can be a huge challenge. Enough talk about FDI retail, what will happen to modern trade. Modern trade is growing already. So it's not just going to be about traditional trade. You have to also look at modern trade for all companies. So again, if you were just focused on traditional trade, not looking at modern trade, here you'll have to probably, relook at your investments and redefine them, because you have to go through both the channels. So I think from a distribution standpoint, and we also have some data where the shopper infidelity is going up, because they are going to more and more shops. Their consideration set for shopping is increasing over the years. So those are the key parameters which are a big challenge from a distribution point of view. The second one is the growth that we see is in rural India. We are saying this for many years now, and we see actual numbers for fast-moving consumer goods are actually growing faster in rural India than in urban India. And just look at it going forward. So see what Indian government is trying to do and compare it with China. So in China, 250 million people will actually relocate from rural China to urban China. They've already created that infrastructure. They want people to move. What we are trying to do is to keep them there. So we have schemes like NREGA. We are giving them whatever prosperity we can, so that they depend on God and government for their living, and they actually continue to live in rural India, because we don't have the infrastructure that China has. So I think from a rural standpoint, we have some forecasts that we've made that it's going to be $100 billion market by 2025 for just FMCG products. Today it's about 8 billion. So from 8 to 100 billion in the next 14 years. That's the kind of growth that you can see. And one big reason we figured out why it's growing, because in the past, rural villagers used to use a commodity. Now they want to use a branded product. So it's not as if the consumption has just gone through the roof. It's moving away from commodities into branded consumption. So that was the second point on rural. I think the third one that probably it's a little new one and big challenges for all of us is pricing. From a marketing standpoint, I think most of the CEOs are meeting every week, re-looking at their pricing. Because of the inflation that there is in the market, there is a lot of debate of, should I pass on this price increase to consumers, or should I bring down the grammage of my product? Both the things are happening, by the way. And we, through analytics, are trying to figure out which of them is a better ROI from a manufacturer's standpoint. So that's the third thing I would say. The fourth one, I think Mr. Sodhi touched on that as well, which is a big one. I think we may be seeing early signs of this is around social media. So, if you take the Egypt example, right? I've lived in Cairo for 3.5 years. I know what it means to bring down a regime. So 12 people got together on Facebook in 27 days, removed a 30-year-old monarchy. And then post that, you saw what happened with Anna Hazare in India. You're seeing Occupy Wall Street happening. So there is an aggregation of demand that's happening through social media, and it will have big implications for marketing, even in India, going forward. And I wouldn't say it is too far out. I think it's here and now. And a lot of companies are saying, I have a Facebook page. I have so many likes. So I've done my bit. It's not about that. It's far beyond getting your consumers engaged. They actually interact with your page. There is a link between offline advertising and online presence. So all of that, and some companies are getting it and are making it big, but that's going to be one big challenge going forward. The final one I have is innovation, and I think we discussed that in the morning enough, so I wouldn't want to reiterate. But somebody was asking me, how would you really define some of the innovation that's happening in India, and also, what Mr. Sodhi showed. So I think it's about sociology coming together with technology at an affordable cost. If I were to define innovation in an Indian perspective, that's how I would define. And we've always heard that phrase, differentiate or die. I think going forward it's going to be innovate or die. So even the Stanford professor now talks about not just looking at your core competence, because we always are bred on that. Just stick to your core competence, don't look outside. Now it's about looking on both sides, where you've got to get better at your core competence, but at the same time, you have to be innovating and disrupting your own business model, something that we discussed in the morning. I would wind up with three aspects which we probably didn't cover. So those were the 5 challenges. 3 things from a consumer standpoint that they have started expecting of marketeers. So first is precision. Within seconds, they know where they are and how do they get across through Google Maps. Right? So they expect you to give them relevant offerings. They don't want, when you're a millionaire, you get a call from a bank saying, we want that 10,000 deposit because it's that scheme. And people wonder, why is it that person's calling me? Same thing the consumer feels, that the product that they are being reached or targeted at is not relevant for them. So precision is going to be the fifth P of marketing. That's how we look at it from a consumer standpoint. That's where it's going to go. Second, I think we talked about social responsibility. So to me, I look at it differently. It's not about a last minute thing that I want to bring on the table and I want to do some stuff on corporate social responsibility and put a flag saying, yes, I've done corporate social responsibility. It's not about that. It's about building the societal purpose in your business model. Right? We gave the example of Tata's in the morning of how they're building that. So it's looking at it little differently. And the third one I would say is co-creation, which is really building products that are relevant, getting it relevant at the relevant time to the consumer, just because they were co-created. You have a higher chance of marketing success if you were to do it like that.